It is 11 o'clock. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on this Thursday. Appreciate Peter Raderkus from AL.com joining the program, talking Auburn, Texas A&M. We're going to go to Tuscaloosa, talk to Rodney Orr momentarily. You know, another rainy night last night throughout Metro Birmingham. Another wild storm hit my neighborhood, and I know many of you are dealing with things today. And the ground is also soggy, and the winds can get up at any time during these storms, and trees are falling everywhere. Even if your roof looks okay from down here, you need to call Abide Roofing because they can get on your roof and they can give you a true assessment of what's going on. So don't wait for a small problem to become a huge disaster with your home and your roof. Abide Roofing is ready to step up and help you today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection for you. No sales pitch. There's no pressure. Travis Lloyd and his local roofing team with over 25 years of experience, they're ready to help you. Call them, 205-941-6223, or go to their website, abideroof.com. I know firsthand how good they are. Travis and his team at Abide Roofing helped me a few years ago, helped me get a brand new roof as they dealt with my insurance company, as I thought I just needed a couple shingles replaced, but instead I had some attic damage that was leaking into the main portion of my house. But Travis Lloyd dealt with my insurance company, and then Abide Roofing was able to put a brand new roof on my house. So call Travis Lloyd, Abide Roofing today, 205-941-6223.
Rodney Orr, Tider Insider, his weekly visit with us here on Three Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. Rodney, how are you?
Doing well, guys. How's it going?
Doing great. Getting ready for a big weekend of college football, per usual. Jamarian Latham, the neck injury he sustained Tuesday at practice, how much in the grand scheme of things against this particular Georgia team does that hurt Kane Womack's defense?
No, I really think they'll be fine. Again, Jamarian's a sixth-year player. You know, he's made some contributions. Obviously, started out on the defensive line and moved to that outside Wolf linebacker spot. And, he's certainly a guy that brings something to the table in terms of the experience that he has. But I think they'll be fine.
Rodney, one thing is for sure. Now, when they went to LSU, it was a completely different football team last year. But when you saw appearances in Nashville against Vanderbilt, what you saw in Norman, Oklahoma, what you saw in Tallahassee, a little bit of a theme developing with this football team on the road. I've heard this week that there's been a lot more noise, a lot more things at practice to try to get the offense rattled, so to speak, so that they'll be used to that environment in Athens. Does that concern you at all about that trend of Bama maybe not looking as sharp as they do at Bryant-Denny Stadium as they do on the road?
Well, I think it can't help but, to certainly cause concern. I mean, you see the trend, the pattern there, the games that they've had. I mean, they came off a big win over Georgia last year, and they flopped at Vanderbilt from the very start. You win here at home against South Carolina in a game that you showed some perseverance in, and then you go to Tennessee and you fold right away. And in the crowd noise, you had issues from the start. You had probably your best performance of the year against LSU down in Baton Rouge. It happened to be a road game, obviously, and that was certainly encouraging. I think a lot of people thought that the team was turning the corner at that moment, and then you go lay a huge egg in Norman, Oklahoma. Even the bowl game, you go down there and you meet Michigan, a decimated team with a lot of opt-outs, and you perform very poorly, I think, for the most part in that game against a decimated team. So, and then of course you open the season this year. You had a lot of chatter this summer about how things were going to be different. We heard that. You guys heard it. You saw the interviews on social media and the players talking about, that they were going to come out with a different mindset, and then the egg that they laid in Tallahassee. So, I mean, you have to be honest about it. They've struggled on the road, and you're going to a place that might be the toughest, or certainly one of the toughest environments in all of college football, where Georgia's won 33 straight games. I think Kirby's like 52-4 there. Yeah, I mean, you have to be concerned about how Alabama will play on the road.
So I know Alabama fans are excited about getting Tim Keenan and Jam Miller back on the defense and offensive side of the ball. But we all know that when you come back from injury, it's going to take you a little bit to ramp up back to 100% and the number of snaps that you're going to be able to play. What is your expectations with those two individuals? Can they be difference makers in this particular game?
Yeah, I hope so. I think so. I think, again, with Keenan coming back with the physical presence that he brings on the interior, that's going to certainly be important. Now, again, I'm like you, what you kind of alluded to there. How many plays can he go? Is he going to be ready to go, the full game? And my guess is that probably, not. But if he can give you 30, 35 plays, maybe that's enough. Uh, Certainly against that Georgia run game, his presence would be big. And then I think on the flip side, talking about the run game, getting the experience of Jam Miller back, he's been in some big games. He's had some good games against Georgia. Had some big plays last year in that game, and then also in the SEC championship a couple of years ago. So Jam brings up, they were really excited about what he was doing in the August camp. He was bringing a, physical style of running, and they need that. They need that, but they also need the burst that he has and the ability as a receiver. And he's also really good at, blitz pickups, pass protection, those types of things. So I think their return, I think it could be really valuable for this team.
Rodney, in your best guess against this Georgia team with Jam Miller coming back into the rotation, how much emphasis will there be in the run game, and how much success does Alabama have to have running the football in order to win?
Well, I think that's a real key. I mean, that's something that they haven't really prospered in the run game at this point. They're averaging 123 a game on the ground, I think it is. So they haven't run the ball consistently well. I think that you look at Georgia, and they're obviously really good, but they're probably not the same Georgia that we've seen in past years in terms of being able to run against those guys. So I think being able to control the line of scrimmage is extremely important, and I think Alabama can potentially do that. I think this offensive line has that ability. We just have to see it, and I think Jam Miller, obviously, with his running ability, will certainly be a key. But yes, it is a huge question mark. You've always got to be able to run the football, I think, in the SEC, but especially on the road, it's really valuable, when you're trying to win a game like this.
Talking about being valuable, how valuable has it been for Ty Simpson to have the last two opponents to be able to get the passing game going and having the confidence, because I'm sure he's going to look like a completely different quarterback on the road this time as he did at Florida State?
Yeah, that's another huge key. I'd say stopping Georgia's run or slowing Georgia's run down is key, and obviously generating some run game for Ty. But Ty is going to have a big game, and when I say that, I'm talking about the whole unit, the passing game, all of the things that they do. Ty's going to have to be accurate on time, like he has been in the last couple of games. He's going to have to get that protection. And Georgia, frankly, has not been a team that's been really good in terms of pass rushing. I think they only have a handful of sacks, maybe 4 sacks. They don't have a ton of pressures, and we know Kirby's going to dial up different ways to cause problems for Alabama. But I think if you look at what happened, Georgia versus Tennessee. And we've seen it in the past with some of Kirby's defenses. If you can protect the quarterback, he can make the throws accurately and on time, and with the weapons that you have at the outside with, what Alabama has at wide receiver, there's going to be some big plays. I mean, Joey Aguilar lit them up for 370-plus yards and 4 touchdowns. So I do think that if Ty's given some time, he's going to have some opportunities to make some big plays.
Rodney, when you look at the rest of the schedule, and right now, and you might not have the schedule in front of you, but this Georgia team, do you see this being the toughest team that Alabama will face for the rest of the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, toughest in the sense that mentally tough. There's not going to be another team, I don't think, that's going to be any that plays with the mental toughness and the physical toughness that Georgia brings. I mean, you're playing at their place, where we talked about the winning streak they have there, and you look at what they did against Tennessee. I mean, that was impressive. I mean, Tennessee looked like they had that game, and Georgia made all the plays down the stretch. The winners find ways to win, and that's what they did. So this is to beat Georgia and to beat them there, it's going to take an incredible effort from Alabama just in terms of the mental toughness, playing for 60 minutes, responding. I know these are all cliches, but responding to adversity in a positive way. Because listen, we've seen it on the road. Pat alluded to it earlier. Alabama has not responded to adversity on the road very well, and they're certainly going to face some in Athens on Saturday night.
Well, I know on Tuesday night on Tighter Insider TV with Gary Harris, I know you guys talked about the game in detail and also gave a prediction. So for those of our audience that did not have an opportunity to see that or your explanation of your pick, I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell us how you think this game's going to play out.
Yeah, well, actually, Gary made the common sense pick, I think, choosing Georgia because, again, all the things that we've laid out. And I kind of went with my gut on this one a little bit because I do think, in spite of all the things that we've laid out with the problems they've had on the road, I do think that this Alabama team's going to take a step in this game. I think they're going to play really, really well. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt here. And I went 34-30 Alabama. And, hey, listen, guys, I mean, I've talked to people about this game, guys, people that have coached it and this, that, and the other and have evaluated talent. And they think talent-wise that Alabama has the edge in this game. But all the other factors that we've talked about certainly make this a game that's going to be really close, I think.
That is Rodney Orr. You can follow his work there at Tighter Insider. Should be a great game between the hedges. Rodney, we'll catch up with you next Thursday.
Thanks, Rodney.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Thank you. That is Rodney Orr joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Tell you about them all the time. Our friends at Mandu in downtown Homewood. It's electrical muscle stimulation fitness. What that means you're going to save a whole lot of time. You're going to look and you're going to feel better. The electrical muscle stimulation fitness, you get into Mandu. They put you into a suit. If you're thinking about what kind of suit, just imagine a wetsuit that's got cables that connect to a machine that sends electric pulses to various muscle groups. It's all FDA approved. It doesn't hurt, but it's a 15-minute workout. And the 15 minutes, because of that technology, is the equivalent to 6 hours in a gym. Right now, if you tell them you heard it on Jocks, 10% off your membership, not only for the first month, the life of your membership. And if you're a student, 15% off your membership at Mandu. Check them out. It's MANDUU.com. That's the website. You can check them out, learn more there, all kinds of testimonials, videos, how it all works, all the science behind it. MANDUU.com, and tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from Jocks sent you.
More three-man front on this Thursday, including your phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX. If you got some thoughts about the weekend's action around the Southeastern Conference, text line open, 205-834-9450, brought to you by Courtesy GMC. All that straight ahead on Three Man Front. It is 11:17. We welcome your calls, 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. The aforementioned courtesy GMC, it's the kickoff sales event going on throughout this month of September. They're slashing prices like never before, up to $15,000 off the brand new 2025 Sierra 1500, or step up to the heavy duty Sierra 2500 HD and save up to $12,000. Not just trucks, drive an Acadia and pocket up to $5,000 in savings. And right now, every 2025 Yukon and Yukon XL is $5,000 off, including the Yukon and the Super Cruise, starting at just $69,995. Plus, every new GMC there at Courtesy GMC in Trussville, they have the exclusive 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Hurry in. Deals are going to end soon. 9 acres of inventory for you to peruse, or check them out at courtesybirmingham.com.
We spoke to Rodney Orr of Tider Insider. Rob Pate coming up at 11:45. Right now, we'll get to your phone calls, 800-239-WJOX. First up is Don Don. Hey, Don Don.
Hello, guys. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Thank you, guys. But, hey, not one person picked Auburn. I love that. Personally, I like that. Me and Con were talking. I like it when nobody gives us a chance.
What's your feeling about the game? What's your prediction, score-wise?
Well, looking at their defense, guys, I don't think I think my defense could slow them down, and I think we can run the ball and throw the ball on them. I don't think they got a good defense. Look at their games and their points now. They got a great offense. Don't get me wrong. We're going to have to slow their offensive down, and I remember last year's game. Didn't we get up like 21-0 on them last year, and they scored like 24 straight points?
Yep, retook the lead.
And it was like, oh yeah, and what an incredible game that was. And I know Conrad will tell you his buddy John Mack ran his mouth today and everything. So you know, guys, I don't go into a game thinking Auburn's going to lose. I never have. I mean, if you're a fan, you just don't go into your game thinking they're going to lose. Y'all agree with that?
No, I try to be real with myself, but I don't have a problem with you thinking that way. You want to be positive going into a game? Be positive.
Well, what you were saying, Landon, I kind of think you think Auburn's going to win yourself.
Yeah, you'll have to wait for better to forget it. I was responding in generalities. Generally, no.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that way, but there's been a many big series with the Braves, them going in, and I didn't feel good about it. Most of the time, I was right.
Well, yeah, you were this year, weren't you? Definitely. And like I told you the other day, man, y'all started winning at the end of the year. That probably just made it worse.
This is known as the forgotten season for Braves fans. We've already forgotten it. Pitchers and catchers.
Well, guys, I'm gonna do my best to get out there tomorrow. I got to work. I always work at the restaurant on Fridays, but I'm gonna do my best to get out there towards the end of the show, guys. So I hope to see y'all tomorrow.
All right, we hope to see you as well. Join us at Twin Peaks as we broadcast from 10 and 2 till 2 tomorrow. They're in River Chase. Let's go to Glenn. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, guys. How's everyone doing down there?
Glenn, where have you been?
That's exactly what I was about to say. Hope you're doing well.
I know. I have been. I've been sick. I've taken on some personal projects. I started a ministry. I've been getting back into music, so I have been busier. And I've had. We did go to Dolphin Island, so I tuned in to the radio broadcast when I could. But I just tried to call in every now and then, and I just couldn't make it happen. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We're glad to hear from you.
I just want to chime in real quick. Maybe me being out of football a little bit. By the way, for the sake of my family, we decided to give up coaching flag football this fall. It was just too much. And it wasn't really the kids. It was the
parents.
Crazy parents. So we gave that up. So we have more time for family. Thank goodness. Me and my son have been camping, which has been great. Guys, last year I was a huge believer of Ty Simpson, and I called in the show and said it.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe, and everyone knows that when he's in the pocket and not rattled, he is incredibly accurate. And last year, I just wish he could have got more playing time than Milroe. The way I see this game happening is Ty's going to have a phenomenal day, and I think in the fourth quarter, Georgia's offense is going to get rattled. I see this more like 34-21. I don't see it as close. The bettors do. Pate is going to have a far to be better than what Pate could have played. Just taken over. I believe in him. And by the way, Carson Beck's gone. Georgia's middle defense, as you guys know, during the Tennessee game was horribly weak. Tennessee picked that all apart. So now here comes in Ty, and now we get, Bama's got his full offense back. I just don't see Georgia stopping Ty. I just don't. Tell me where I'm wrong.
I don't know. I would not use Georgia's performance versus Tennessee as your baseline for that. I know that defense, that particular offense, that particular day in that stadium, they got off to a great start, but Georgia still got dudes, and Kirby Smart is still really, really good at calling defense.
He is. Can you guys forgive me for not calling it? I really have been so disrupted with my schedule.
No, Glenn, first off, we're just happy to
we're happy you're okay.
Absolutely. We're happy that you're doing the things that you're doing with your son. That's the most important.
Congratulations on the ministry. That's awesome.
Absolutely. So happy to have you call in and listen whenever you can.
I will. And when we went to Dolphin Island, thought of you guys, tried to call in, but I decided to give family, the whole time at the beach.
Nothing wrong with that.
I can call in later and share more, but yeah, the Lord opened up me to pursue a ministry. It's been on my heart for about 20 years, and I'm going back into writing music again and things that I love to do and spending time with family. And, we've and I'll say this, I don't want you guys to drop the phone here, but I've not watched a full entire college football game this season. I've watched a few clips.
Pat just passed out. Pat passed out.
I know. I just decided to give time to my family and kind of make up for some lost time in the past. And we may jump back into it here in October, but God's doing some good things with us and our family. And I'll try to call in when I can, but I've thought of you guys, all of you and Molly, and I will still tell you, when I can make a trip down on Taco Tuesday, I will come down and see you guys.
Please do. Please do. It's a great time. Always great to hear from you, Glenn.
That's great news, Glenn. God bless you. God bless you and your family and your ministry.
All right, guys. I'll call back when I can. Thanks.
Thanks, right, Glenn. Appreciate that very much.
We used to get a phone call a week from Glenn. He'd give us a prediction on the Alabama game.
I know.
Glenn, for our listeners who have not heard Glenn before, Glenn lives in Colorado, and he's a big Alabama fan. And then a heck of a guy.
I was joking about being shocked about football.
I know you were. I think most of our audience knew you were.
Okay.
Glenn sounded a little bit concerned for half a second.
He's doing it for every single right reason in the world.
Yes.
So you're not going to have any criticism from me or Langell, maybe from Conrad, just because he wants all the Alabama fans to be as fanatic as he is.
Yeah. Thank goodness they're not, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll continue. We got Rob Pate coming up at 11:45. More college football news and notes that we will get to, and we'll continue to preview some of the other big college football games that could impact the college football playoff. It's a Thursday edition of Three Man Front on Jocks.
11:30 on Jocks. This is Three Man Front. Landrum, Conrad, Molly, I'm Pat with you until 2 o'clock. We'll talk to Rob Pate, former Auburn DB, coming up in about 15 minutes from now. Next hour, Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio, also from the Ole Miss Radio Network. He will be along on this radio program. Each and every week on this show, I know many of you love to play some NFL, some fantasy football. And our two resident experts are Molly and Conrad, and we have a segment we like to call Conrad's Fantasy Corner.
Touchdown! Conrad's Fantasy Corner.
All right, let's kick off week 4 of the NFL season. And before Pat asked, yes, I did win last week as well.
You got to brag. How about you, Molly? Did you win?
Finally, yes, I did.
So, Conrad, you're 2-1, and
Correct.
Molly's 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So hope everyone else out there had a good week of fantasy. And we'll start off as we do every week with a little bit of a look back at last week, because if you had any of these guys in your lineup, you probably had a pretty good week overall. So the leading scorer last week, don't think you're going to hear this one again. Trey Tucker, receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, the beneficiary of a lot of garbage time scoring by the Raiders last week. He had 8 catches for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. That'll go for 40.9 fantasy points. That's one of the top scores we've had the entire season. I think maybe the second most points you've seen from a single player all season long. So big week for him. Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He was the second leading scorer with 32.8 points, had 102 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And then I know Molly, this will make her very happy. David Montgomery, the third leading scorer, the backup running back there, kind of the 1B to Jahmyr Gibbs' 1A. He had 29.4 fantasy points, 151 rushing yards to go along with 2 touchdowns on the ground. And your top scoring quarterback last week in 4th place overall was Caleb Williams for the Bears, actually, as he also had 29 fantasy points last week. So we'll see if any of those guys can repeat the success they had last week. Now we'll move to the injury front, which unfortunately it is a big part of fantasy football, and how you navigate injuries can ultimately determine how your season fares. So bad news in running back world last week. So you got 2 guys out for the season now. James Conner, the Cardinals running back, he is out, expected to be out for the rest of the season after suffering an injury. And then Najee Harris, who, let's be honest, he was already being overtaken there with the Chargers anyways, but he's also been ruled out for the remainder of the season. So those 2 guys, you are good to drop them off your roster if you haven't done so already. A couple of big-time wide receivers that are not expected to go this weekend. CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys expected to be held out this week. That's a big one, as he is, of course, one of the very best players in the entirety of the National Football League. Same goes for Mike Evans. He's doubtful for the Buccaneers game this weekend, and we will get to both of those wide receiver rooms here coming up in a little bit, as well as the Cardinals running back room. But some more big names that are questionable, so hopefully these guys are going to be able to go, but worth keeping an eye on over the next few days. Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, still not sure if he's going to go. He said he feels fine, but it's going to be left up to the team doctors there in Washington if he will go. But the good news is Marcus Mariota had over 20 fantasy points last week, so if you're desperate for that, Marcus Mariota, not a bad option potentially. Also for the Commanders, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, their starting running back, he is questionable, as well as Terry McLaurin. So you have potentially the starting quarterback, starting running back, and wide receiver 1 for the Commanders, all questionable for this week. You have Kyle Pitts. I know he's kind of a joke in the fantasy world because he's never quite lived up to his potential. Not really his fault in my opinion, but he's questionable for the weekend as well. If you are playing any of the Panthers wide receivers, which I don't know why you would outside of maybe Tet McMillan, but him and Xavier Legette are both questionable coming up this Sunday. DeAndre Swift, running back for the Bears, also questionable. David Njoku and Evan Ingram, the Browns and Broncos tight ends, are both questionable. Nico Collins, very good wide receiver for the Houston Texans, is questionable. Tucker Kraft, Packers tight end, questionable. And then Bashil Tutin, the Jaguars running back, is also questionable, and we have told you to pick him up the last couple of weeks. So hopefully you listen, but unfortunately he might not be able to go.
His middle name is Dern.
Dern Tutin? That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Now for some waiver pickups. Some guys that if you need to fill out your roster, you need somebody to start for you in a pinch this weekend, definitely give these guys a look. I know this will make Pat happy, but I really do think this is a good pickup, not for a starter, but keep him on your bench. Jackson Dart, what he can do with his legs, I think potentially could have some value there at the quarterback spot if he's still available in your league, because he has been named the starter not only for this week, but they have said he is going to be the starter for the rest of the season as long as he stays healthy. So I think Jackson Dart's worth a look. I already mentioned Marcus Mariota had over 20 points last week, and then Sam Darnold, if you want somebody to go tonight, Sam Darnold's been pretty good for the Seahawks. They had a massive offensive explosion last week in their big win. Now, the running back spot, Trey Benson, this should be top priority for anybody in fantasy football. He is James Conner's replacement. Molly looks like she has picked him up or has him on the roster.
I had James Conner.
Oh, well, that is unfortunate. But, yeah, Trey Benson going to be the running back one there in Arizona, it looks like, so he's definitely worth an addition. But odds are he's probably already gone, but just throwing it out there. Also at running back, you have Ollie Gordon, who had about 10 fantasy points last week, starting to get more of a role. Still expected to be kind of the goal line back for the Dolphins, but let's be honest, the Dolphins are terrible. Rico Dowdle there starting to get some run in the Panthers running back room with Chuba Hubbard getting a little bit less of an opportunity, so he's worth a stash. And then Kenneth Gainwell for the Steelers scored a touchdown last week. I told you, you could do a lot worse than having him if you need a flex or just a backup running back.
Pride of the Memphis Tigers.
That's right. And then we have at wide receiver, how about Alec? I already forgot how to pronounce his last name. Damian just told me. Alec Ayomanor. He is the Titans rookie receiver out of Stanford, but he has 2 touchdown catches in back-to-back weeks there for Tennessee. So not bad. We already mentioned Trey Tucker had 40 points last week. Don't think you should expect that again, but obviously there's a little something there with the Raiders wide receiver. Tyquan Thornton potentially going to be wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs right now. He was last week, and they're going up in a matchup with the Ravens, who, if you watched their game last week, they have a terrible secondary, so certainly worth a look for Tyquan Thornton there with the Chiefs. You have Torrey Horton of the Seattle Seahawks. He has touchdown catches in back-to-back weeks. And then if this guy is still out there with Mike Evans being out potentially, Chris Godwin is supposed to come back from his season-ending injury last year. He's missed the first month of the season, but might be ready to go this weekend. I have him stashed on my bench because we know how good Chris Godwin and that Buccaneers passing offense can be, so I think he's worth a look as well. At tight end, you have Hunter Henry, still available in a lot of places, the Patriots tight end. He was the top scoring tight end in fantasy last week with a couple of touchdowns. You also have Jaguars tight end Brenton Strange, who I told you about early in the season, had 12 points last week. Another really good option there if you need some help. And then a couple of defenses I think are worth taking a look at this week. The Commanders' defense hasn't been great this year, but they are playing the Falcons. And what did the Falcons do last week? They got shut out by the Carolina Panthers, who are awful. So Commanders versus the Falcons, I think that's a good defensive play. And then the Chargers taking on the Raiders. So I think those are 2 good defenses worth a look this week. Best of luck to everyone out there in fantasy football world, and we will be back next week for another edition of the Fantasy Football Corner.
So you're 2-1, Molly's 1-2.
That is correct. Amon Ross St. Brown had a nice Monday night for me, and that got me the win. So
Me too.
that was looky there.
Except I had CeeDee Lamb too.
Well, that's unfortunate. Good for me. I have George Pickens, so I'm going to benefit from CeeDee Lamb being out this week, hopefully.
Now, did everybody else in your league gripe and complain like you did to us, like nonstop?
About the auction draft?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's the commissioner? Why did they do this?
Well, just one of my friends from college.
What's her name?
It's a guy.
What's his name?
I don't want to say that.
Why?
Well, because I don't want to put him on blast.
Let's put his name's Chet. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it is Chet.
It's not.
Why did
It's
Chet
Chet.
do that?
Chet Luger.
I don't know, but nobody in my league likes it.
Sounds like a Midwest name, doesn't
But
it?
his
Have you ever thought about overthrowing Chet as
Yeah.
the commissioner of the league?
You ever heard of a coup?
I might have started something.
Really?
Yeah.
How many
Hey.
other females are in the league?
Just me.
Oh, see, this was set up for your failure. That's what it was.
I will just
I
say,
don't like to spend money on anything. What makes them think I'm going to spend money on an auction
but it's
draft?
fake money.
I don't care.
It's like Monopoly money.
Ugh,
It's
I don't
fun.
like it.
How much did it cost you to get in the league?
Like $20, I think.
I want you to remember what you just said when you get married one day. You don't like to spend money.
I don't.
That'll change.
It will.
Mhm.
Maybe.
I would just say being a commissioner is not as easy as it looks.
I don't care.
Yeah,
We don't have to do an auction draft.
I get hell all the time from my friends of, collusion.
Did y'all just do a
or-
snake? Is that what y'all did?
Yeah, we just do a snake draft, but I've been our commissioner for like 5 years now, and I get a lot
Oh,
of
so
crap.
you're the big guy
Oh, yeah.
in your league.
I collect all the money. I do
He
everything.
spends it all.
I do spend it all, and then I have to go into my savings to
By the
pay
way,
out
have y'all
winner
paid
every
for the
year.
office football pool?
I haven't.
I have.
I haven't decided if I'm going to.
I paid you like at the beginning of the year.
I don't think
I usually pay at the beginning of the year. I haven't done it this
I
year.
think I forgot.
Was Damien the first person to pay this year?
Damien was the very first person to pay this year.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's shocking.
And he's had a good season so far.
He has.
So far, so good.
You just reminded me that I hadn't paid.
I know, me too.
What made me think of it was when Conrad said he takes up the money.
Well, you can just save it and then pay the winner at the end because we know it's going to go to that office over there.
I'll give you
so.
5. Yeah.
They've been
true.
he's been struggling.
Yeah, it's so early.
Yeah, one of his kids will.
It's so early. I'm in second place right now, but it's so early.
You've been having a good year.
Saybear's in
it's
first, right?
Mhm.
Look at us.
It's so early.
It is. Well, and as we know, right, people, and I've been victim to this too, right? If you feel like you're falling behind, people start to fall off from making their picks, and that's when you can really catch up at the end.
It's the grind that football season is. I was just reminded last night. I was in a Major League Baseball fantasy league this year, and when football season started, I was in fourth place in a league of 16 teams, but I just forgot. I was like, when do the playoffs start? They said, we just had the playoffs. I was like, oh, really? They said, yeah.
You missed it. Oops.
Yeah. I had some guys that were in my lineup that apparently were not available, but that's all right. Fantasy. It's fun. Thank you, Conrad.
You're welcome. Best of luck to everyone.
Coming up in just a couple minutes, we'll talk to Rob Pate, former Auburn DB, right here on Three Man Front. Auburn Tigers heading down to College Station, Texas. We'll catch up with Rob Pate, Dr. Pate, former Auburn DB, coming out momentarily here on Three Man Front.
Well, this college football and NFL season, you need to go and check out Big Whiskey's because they are the place for great food of all varieties. They have a full menu with apps, salads, burgers, and steaks. They have a great bar with unique cocktails and over 120 whiskeys on tap. It doesn't matter what team you cheer for this college football and NFL season. Go in because you can catch all the games on the big screens in the bar. So go check them out in the Sam Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
Joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, Rob Pate, former Auburn DB, great eye doctor down in Auburn, Entrepreneur of the Year down in Lee County, joins us now. Dr. Pate, how you doing on this wonderful Thursday?
Hey, man, I'm good. I'm waiting for that plaque to be sent in for Entrepreneur of the Year.
It's coming because me and Landrum are going to be presenting it to you there at your establishment.
At Homewood.
Yeah,
we're
going to do it. We're going to do it
at Homewood halftime or something.
Yeah, we're going to have the statue eventually done, and we'll put it in the square.
Yes,
there by City Hall.
Okay. That would be awesome.
That will be fantastic. Before we get your thoughts on Auburn's game against Texas A&M, I want to go back and get your thoughts on the postscript of the Oklahoma game in which Auburn, it was a hard-fought game and had an opportunity with that 7 minutes left to win that one.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think there's things you can walk away with and point to and be proud of and say, hey, that's a team that will fight and is going to be a tough out for everybody in this conference. And then there's other things you can point to and say, man, that's a team that still doesn't know how to get over the hump and win and put their foot down and when they grab hold of a game to finish it. And that's kind of the thing, that the mantra that we've been pushing for a long time is to become that program that can close the door. And we had the opportunity, so proud to see them come back and get that touchdown after all the adversity, go up by a point and really just, the defense, hey, just end it. And instead, a quarterback with a broken hand is able to complete 11 straight passes and lead his team down there for a touchdown to seal it for them. That's just what's got to change. I mean, at some point, whether it's the guys that get paid the most NIL or the guys that are the leaders on the team, the captains, somebody's got to take the reins and say, hey, I'm going to make the play, or I'm going to instill the attitude that we're going to. These are the games we got to win to change the program and the culture. And they're getting close. I mean, you can see the steps, but you can't let those things slip away. The SEC is so much like the NFL now. I mean, I think that's what I told my kids after the game is like it's going to be like this every week. I mean, all these teams can play with each other, and it's going to be a battle week in and week out. It comes down to who believes they can win it, and Auburn just has to take that step of joining the I Believe club. And until we get there, then we'll keep talking about how we let them slip away.
Rob, what are your thoughts on Auburn's offense, maybe some of the play calling last week with a lack of going to the running game, and how do you think they can be the most successful moving forward, including this weekend in College Station?
They've got to be able to run the ball, and everybody's going to say that. I mean, it's universal in football. You need to be able to establish the run in the line of scrimmage to make everything else work. I don't think you can sit there and beat your head against the wall when it's not working and get yourself in second and third and long right out of the gate. But, they can have some variety and run the ball in different ways and just running it right over center to set up 2nd and 9. And, so I don't think the moving away from the running game bothered me as much as taking 10 sacks did. Because if you've got a kid out there like Cam Coleman that's already made catch after catch after catch in this game, and they've shown you that their freshman corner can't run with your guy, at least half of those balls that ended up being sacks should have just been lobs to Cam Coleman to see what happens. I mean, if you got a guy that makes 50-50 balls, a 70-30 proposition or an 80-20 proposition, then I think you're doing your team a disservice to not give him the opportunity to make a play or at least draw a flag. I mean, even the catches he didn't make, at least 2 of them should have been pass interference calls too. And so he's just too talented to just give deep shots to. We got to do some better scheming to get him the ball and to get Singleton the ball. out in space. And but we can't hold on to the football for 10 sacks. I mean, I know the offensive line is going to take a massive hit for that, but I would say at least half of those would be him just holding the ball too long and his unwillingness to throw a back shoulder or put one up for grabs with Coleman.
You being a former DB, you had to be impressed by the defensive front for Auburn, the way that they allowed John Mateer to be contained. I know you mentioned the fact that he got on a roll there, completing the completions he did after he hurt his hand. But you got to think, going to Texas A&M now, being tested in Norman, that DJ Durkin's defense is going to be ready to potentially slow down Marcel Reed.
Yeah, I thought defensively that they played really well, and other than that last drive, where we just let them hit some things and do some things over the middle. I just believe that Mateer and his comfort in that offense is going to be light years ahead of what Texas A&M does. Even with the scoring that they've been able to produce, I just don't think that Marcel Reed is in the same stratosphere as Mateer, and so I'm hoping that is something that this defense can take advantage of. Although I know he's going to be a talented guy, and they've got plenty of outstanding talent around him. I think it's going to be the toughest running game we face, maybe in the league, and so they're going to have to bring their A game. I like that we have so many young guys and guys that can have not just reps to let guys rest, but productive reps to come in and actually make plays. That's allowed them to really get after it for the entire 4 quarters. Linebacker play is going to be massive this week. Got to tackle in space when the quarterback decides to pull it down, and they're going to take some shots. I mean, they've got the kid from Clay Chalkville is a legitimate player that will have an axe to grind with an in-state school. And, so the secondary is going to have to play really well this week.
With a loss like Auburn sustained in Norman, Oklahoma, as a former player, how tough is that to kind of flip the switch and then focus on a team, a top-ranked team like Texas A&M, going on the road in back-to-back weeks?
I think that it's better for these guys to have the opportunity to get back out there in another high-stakes game immediately than to have an off week this week and to have to sit here and stew on it and, constantly hear from the coaches the negativity of the things that happened in that game. I mean, don't get me wrong, they need to be negative and they need to learn from their mistakes, but they flipped the switch pretty quickly to start building the confidence and start working towards your new opponent and implementing a game plan to stop what you're going to see the next week. And it just keeps happening, week after week. That's why I say it's like the NFL. I mean, you're going to play a top 10 team and another top 10 team and then another top 5 team and then another top 25 team. I mean, it's just week after week. So you just don't have any time to rest. Auburn just has to get better and believe they belong, and be a little bit more creative offensively and get that ball out so we're not just going backwards. And also the penalties just have to stop too. I mean, just putting ourselves in beating ourselves. We can't. We're not good enough yet to be able to beat ourselves. And we got ourselves in a bind that's fixable, but it's going to take maturity and discipline to do it.
All right, quickly, Rob, in a remaining minute or so, how do you think this one's going to play out at Kyle Field?
I think Auburn's played well there historically, and I'm hoping that we get the offense on track and see that we've got playmakers if we give them the opportunity. And I'm also hoping that the amount of offense that Texas A&M's defense has allowed translates to Auburn scoring a lot of points. I think Auburn defensively is going to be tough, to put 30 points on. So I'm hoping Auburn walks out with a victory over there and really establishes some presence on the ground this week because Texas A&M run defense has not been good. So we'll see.
30-21. That's what I heard, Auburn.
Yeah, that's that. I think that's let's go 31-21. I'd like that even better.
All right, 31-21. You got it. Beautiful. Well, Rob,
hey man, and I did want to say one other thing, man. I had a teammate that passed away this week,
yes.
and Rudy Johnson, and just wanted to say, man, he was an outstanding teammate, an outstanding person, as humble as it gets. Ended up at Auburn by accident and changed the trajectory of our program in one season at Auburn. So he left an impact with a lot of people that played with him. His locker was right next to mine. I was 31, he was 32, and so we spent a lot of time together in conversation, and he will be missed, and that's a good man that is a family that needs your prayers.
Definitely. We'll lift up the prayers. Rob, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you. War Eagle.
Rob Pate joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham's your one source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Pick apart what Rob said next.